In the heart of Cupertino, California, a sprawling glass and steel structure stands as a testament to human ingenuity. The Apple headquarters, a nearly $5 billion architectural marvel, embodies everything the company represents: innovation, secrecy, and an obsession with control. Behind these pristine walls, teams of engineers and designers meticulously craft the next generation of devices that will define industries, dictate trends, and reinforce Apple's dominance over the global market. The image is sleek, polished, and revolutionary. But beyond the glass walls and polished keynote presentations, there is another reality, one that Apple never highlights in its marketing. A reality where human labor is stretched to its limits, where supply chains are riddled with ethical concerns, and where technological advancement comes at a steep cost. Apple's legacy isn't just one of breakthrough innovation. It is also one of secrecy, control, and controversy. Thousands of miles from Cupertino, in the industrial city of Zhengzhou, China, stands a factory so massive it has earned the nickname iPhone City. Operated by Foxconn, this plant is responsible for assembling the vast majority of iPhones sold worldwide. Inside, tens of thousands of workers toil under grueling conditions, working 12-hour shifts with minimal breaks. Many live in cramped dormitories within the factory complex, seeing little of the outside world beyond the production lines. Apple has long promised ethical reforms, yet reports of excessive overtime, workplace harassment, and unsafe conditions persist. In 2019, an investigation revealed that temporary workers made up more than 50% of Foxconn's workforce in Zhengzhou, violating China's labor laws, which limit temporary employment to 10%. These temporary workers lack job security and benefits, making them especially vulnerable to exploitation. In some cases, wages are withheld, forcing employees to work additional hours just to make ends meet. One of the darkest incidents linked to Apple's supply chain occurred over a decade ago. In 2010, a series of suicides at Foxconn factories made international headlines. Workers, many of them young and desperate, were reportedly driven to the edge by unbearable pressure, military-style discipline, and relentless quotas. The response? Foxconn installed suicide nets around dormitory buildings, a grim symbol of the conditions inside. Apple vowed to improve labor conditions after public backlash, but over the years, reports of worker mistreatment have continued to surface, revealing how little has changed. As global scrutiny intensified, Apple sought to reduce its dependence on China. The company has been expanding its manufacturing operations into India, with plants in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu assembling newer iPhone models. Yet, even in these new territories, the same problems emerge. A 2020 report revealed that married women were often denied jobs at these factories due to fears that pregnancy-related absences would disrupt production. In 2021, over 250 women at a Tamil Nadu factory fell sick due to unsanitary living conditions in factory-provided hostels. Protests erupted, forcing Apple to place the facility on probation. The shift to new markets may serve Apple's strategic goals, but it does little to eliminate the systemic labor abuses embedded within its supply chain. Beyond labor concerns, Apple's environmental impact is another carefully managed narrative. The company frequently touts its commitment to sustainability, boasting carbon neutrality goals and expanded use of recycled materials. While these initiatives sound promising, they fail to address a fundamental contradiction. Apple's business model thrives on planned obsolescence. New models are released annually, rendering older devices sluggish due to software updates that subtly degrade performance. Customers are pushed toward upgrading, feeding a cycle of consumption that generates vast amounts of electronic waste. Apple's opposition to right-to-repair laws only exacerbates the issue. By designing devices with proprietary components, soldered parts, and software locks, the company effectively restricts third-party repairs, forcing users to either pay exorbitant fees at Apple stores or replace their devices entirely. A simple battery swap, something that should be a routine fix, becomes a costly endeavor. The result? Millions of devices prematurely discarded, contributing to an ever-growing e-waste crisis. While Apple has recently made some concessions, such as introducing a self-service repair program, it remains highly restrictive and expensive, discouraging widespread adoption. Privacy is another cornerstone of Apple's brand identity. The company positions itself as a guardian of user data, often contrasting itself with rivals like Google and Meta, who rely on advertising models that harvest vast amounts of personal information. Yet, Apple's commitment to privacy has limits, ones defined by business interests rather than ethics. In China, where Apple generates billions in revenue, the company has complied with government demands to store Chinese user data on state-run servers, effectively handing over control to authorities known for extensive surveillance and censorship. In the West, Apple's privacy claims have also been questioned, with reports surfacing about the company secretly scanning iCloud photos for potential illegal content, a move that, while well-intentioned, raised concerns about backdoor surveillance capabilities. Financially, Apple wields immense power, often strong-arming suppliers and partners into deals that maximize its profitability. The App Store, a crucial pillar of Apple's ecosystem, operates as a walled garden where Apple dictates the rules and takes a 30% commission from developers. This has led to high-profile legal battles, most notably against Epic Games, which accused Apple of monopolistic practices. While Apple has defended its policies as necessary for security and quality control, critics argue that the company prioritizes profit over fair competition, leveraging its dominance to squeeze out smaller players. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of Apple's power is its ability to shape public perception. Despite decades of labor controversies, environmental concerns, and aggressive business tactics, the company enjoys an almost cult-like following. Its marketing machine is unparalleled, crafting narratives that evoke emotion, nostalgia, and a sense of exclusivity. Owning an Apple device is not just about functionality. It's a status symbol, a lifestyle choice, an extension of identity. But at what cost? Every iPhone, MacBook, and AirPod comes with an invisible price tag, one that isn't reflected in the retail cost, but in the exploited workers, the environmental toll, and the monopolistic control Apple exerts over its industry. Consumers rarely see this hidden price, distracted by sleek advertisements, dazzling product launches, and promises of a better, more connected world. Apple's legacy will undoubtedly be remembered for its innovation, but it must also be examined for its darker truths. The question is, as technology advances and consumer awareness grows, will Apple be held accountable? Or will the next revolutionary device once again overshadow the ethical and environmental concerns lurking beneath its surface?